Did you know that George IV was so big that his coffin had to be handled with care? George IV, he came to Brighton. He was a dashing young prince and he was the age of 21. He was famous for his love of horses and women, and he lived a very lively lifestyle. This was in complete opposite to his father, George III, who was actually quite serious. George IV, he embraced the French lifestyle. He really enjoyed the French cuisine, and he employed a French chef who would cook for him in his state-of-the-art kitchen in Brighton. I often wonder whether George ate so much because his father was actually quite restrictive of his diet. So rather than sticking to what his father wanted, he sort of rebelled and went the complete and opposite way. He ate large quantities of meat, he drank a lot of wine and champagne, and he was known for having quite a hearty appetite. So he did indulge in extravagant feasts that contributed to overall his massive weight gain at the time. So obviously George was a prince, so he had a very high standing in society. However, there was one person who didn't like him and thought that he wasn't very attractive, and unfortunately that happened to be his wife, Caroline. So Caroline actually commented saying, "Oh, he doesn't look like how he did in his portrait. He's a lot less attractive than I really thought he was going to be." Some people also commented on his appearance. They likened him to a sausage or a large bed, and that related to his physical appearance again. So George IV, he started to put on a lot of weight, and this had a massive impact on his health. He started to have problems with his limbs, so they started to swell. He then started to have difficulty with his breathing, and he really struggled to move around, get in and out of bed, and so he would often sleep sat up because he just couldn't move. His unhealthy lifestyle even led him to go partially blind as well, which is obviously very serious. George IV eventually died at the age of 67, and at the date of his death, he weighed 24 stone. So that's around 336 pounds. So you can just imagine how big he actually was at the time. So because George had put on so much weight, when he died, he obviously had to have a special coffin made for him. Not only that, they had to be so careful with how they handled it, because it weighed so much and it was of such great size that they had to make sure that it didn't damage anything that was around it. In the end, George IV will be remembered as an overweight monarch, but he also wasn't very liked either. However, he did leave a lasting impression on the Brighton Pavilion,